Everest, and the Kenyan government was told, pay 8 million and the body will transport it back. Up to now, that young man's body is still on top of Mount Everest. I forgot to mention his name.
Let me actually, I'm gonna dig into that as well. Go ahead, bro.
So this is not. This diplomacy has taken care of everything. Diplomacy has really put key issues. Everything is really been put in place. So if indeed William Ruto would have been very sympathetic about this with his PS, with his Minister for Foreign Affairs, they would have even done a kind of a shuttle diplomacy, sending a private jet there. They would have said, hand over the prisoner to us. I know the laws are very harsh and everything, but still Chinese, if you are found on drug smuggling and corruption, you are hung to death in China before even trial. And still China, they do have a lot of concessions as far as this is concerned. So all I will say, Brother Vu, this is something the Kenyan government can intervene and do. And I'm telling you, even if there is no prisoner, even if there is no Vietnamese prisoner, the Kenyan-Vietnamese relation exists, and that is why Kenya has an embassy in Vietnam. That proves it. So
you've mentioned about as you continue, you mentioned about the Kenyan who died on top of Mount Everest. Let me actually give the viewers input into that. Joshua Cheruiyot Kirui, a 40-year-old Kenyan mountaineer and banker with Kenya Commercial Bank, tragically lost his life on May 23rd, 2024, during an attempt to summit Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. So that was his name.
That was the guy. Up to now, his body is on the summit. He's in Mount Everest. His body, up to now, his body has not been returned. And you know, some countries like South Africa, they say, South Africa, they are so good with diplomacy. They say if one of our citizens is in a deep shit, first of all, let's bring that citizen home. Then we shall get to figure out from there, because they are saving themselves from international bad imaging and tarnishing. What makes a country respected internationally is the use of its soft power image. Kenya is not just a country like Burundi. Our marathoners are known. We are a tech hub in Africa. We are a regional. Kenya is a regional diplomatic hub with 70% of United Nations offices in our country. We are not just any country. We are respected globally for what we say. Okay.
And yet, Amarange, that's exactly what we're talking. We're talking about the challenges that we have. You know, because Vietnam has no bilateral agreement with Kenya. We don't, and those are the hurdles that they're facing. So everything that is being negotiated through Bangkok. Okay. Now, the fact that we don't have any bilateral agreement with Vietnam also makes it difficult when it comes to the issue of prisoner swipe or the prisoner transfer between, from now taking Nuta from Vietnam back to Nairobi. Those are the hurdles that we are facing right now. We don't have any trade, any trade agreement with Vietnam. So all these things, all these are key factors. But regardless, go ahead, Guido.
So there is an intervention to that, even if you don't have embassy or any kind of things like that. I will give you a good example of how some countries relate. As we are currently speaking, the only Taiwan embassy in Africa is in Somaliland, Hargeisa. Taiwan, Taipei.
Okay.
And when students apply for jobs and everything, they usually send it from Kenyan embassy to Hargeisa, Somaliland, and from there you can communicate with Taipei, Taiwan. So even if there is no trade relation or something like that, there is always a channel, and this channel has been used for quite a while. I will give you an example of one of these channels which was used during the ISIL war in Syria. Most of the some German people were found between crossfires in the war of Mosul. So they did not have any kind of an escape plan or something like that, but they reached out to the ally in the region to help them. That is why today, if America wants to have any kind of political or economic interest in the region, they reached out to Israel, they reach out to Turkey. Okay?
There's always a plan B and a plan C, even though we don't have any bilateral agreements with these countries.
Exactly.
That they can come to a consensus, they can come to a compromise and see how to handle this issue. Let me welcome our someone came here. Leave 3, 4. oh my God, this
Yeah.
is just too long. My sister, open your camera, my sister. You know, I'm so scared.
No,
Listen,
I'm not.
you know, we have a principle at Vote TV, Live for Life. The thing is, at Vote TV, I always say, if you come up here and you want to have a discussion, I want to see your face, because this TikTok is so toxic, and we've realized that people, they hide behind these profile pictures to hide their face. So if you want to come and engage in a conversation, it's a golden rule. Thank you very much.
Okay, I wouldn't be able to do that, but thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. So let me continue with my brother. Again, please,
So,
like, if you're not prepared to come here and open your camera and talk and have a conversation, please don't waste our time. You can just sit down there and engage. Continue, Dido.
so my brother, like, Kenya has a very huge trade relation with Indonesia. Actually, we have an embassy there in Indonesia. I think we also do have an embassy in Philippines. We do have an embassy, and actually one of the Kenya's largest trading partners in South Asia and Asia is China. China has a very credible relations and consular and trade agreements with Vietnam. So if today William Ruto will just call President Xi Jinping,
and China is major. And China is major. That's right. I agree. And China is major, right? Thank you. Actually, I didn't even look at it yet.
Exactly. So Kenya is the largest borrower of the Chinese loans and bonds and everything. If today President Ruto will call Xi Jinping and tell him,
China owns Kenya economically.
Yeah, exactly. So if he tells him, hey, we have a diplomatic hitch, we have a small diplomatic issue, Premier Xi Jinping, can you call your counterpart from Vietnam and we solve the issue? I'm telling you, if the second most economic superpower in the world calls Vietnam, we have a lot of things to solve. We have a lot of things to talk about. Just release Nduta, then we take care of our things. And that is it.
That's right.
People should understand. People should understand what it means to have shadow diplomacy. Shadow diplomacy is a kind of a channel that every president and every statesman in this country, they have a direct communication with each other. That is something that has been established there. Yes, it exists.
Are we looking? Now let me. I was actually doing my investigation into how many people are executed in Vietnam on a daily basis because of the same crime that Nuta is being accused of. And it's not just being accused of. Galma, have you seen the video where Nuta was arrested?
No, I've not seen it.
Okay, just please, if you guys want to see the video, join the Vote TV Telegram group. You'll see it. I'm sharing everything in the Telegram group because, of course, you cannot share these videos on social media. Okay, the only place you can share these videos is Twitter, but you can't post those videos on TikTok or in other social media. Now, let me put it like this, respectfully. It's a lot of powder. Ni unga mingi sana. It's 2 kgs. Ni kilo mbili. I mean, like, it's like, imagine you going to umena dukani, okay? Umena kununua unga ugali. It's 2 kgs. That's exactly what Nduta alikuwa amebeba. It's a lot, bro. So, I'm looking at this thing from 2 perspectives, and we've actually really dissected this story here at Vote TV in a very, very logical way. Worst case scenario, Vietnam says, you know what? This is our business. She was arrested in Vietnam. This is what the law says. And she must face the punishment.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, you know, number 2, something else I wanna bring into I wanna talk about on this panel. I watched a couple of testimonies from people who traveled to Vietnam, and they said the moment you get to Vietnam, it's not like any other countries where they say, hey, like now if it's in Kenya, oh, Karibu Kenya, whatever, welcome to Kenya. In Vietnam, once you get to Vietnam, you know what they tell you? They tell you, look here, bro. In Vietnam, madaza kulevya achana nazo. They start preaching you immediately about the dangers of engaging in any madaya kulevya business. And I'm saying madaya kulevya because of TikTok. So, if you watch the video of Nduta, when she was arrested, it makes you ask one question. How was she carrying all these unga bila kujua.
Yeah, I get your point, Vu. You are very right.
You see, but then you know what, Galma? I see, no, but then me, the way I look at cases, I said, you know what? That's not for me to explain. That's not for me to talk about. Nobody has listened to Nuta's voice. Nuta hasn't spoken.
She doesn't have a fair trial. That is the word.
Nuta hasn't spoken. Do you actually know what's crazy? Even as a prisoner, how comes the Vietnam government never gave her an opportunity to actually even say something on camera? They have the press. They haven't interviewed her. Listen, or maybe I could be wrong. Have we seen any video of Nduta talking apart from these pictures that we have? Because like now these are. Let me make this thumbnail bigger. Number one, okay, you see, the image in the image in that circle is when she was arrested, and the other image is when she was in court. Have we seen? Have we seen any video of Nduta talking? I don't think so.
Yeah. You know, Vu. This is a very difficult case also, and one question I ask myself is, yes, the Vietnamese customs, they arrested her there. So a big question is even how that consignment left JKIA or wherever she was coming from.
Oh, that's another story. Oh, Dito, it's been a lot of, I mean, you know, this social media is full of bullshit. But there's these things about she traveled to Ethiopia with a bus, and then from there was she was given a hand luggage. She was given the consignment. It's a lot of shenanigans, bro.
Yeah. So I will say.
Then there's the other. Then they're saying the person who was in charge of all this shit is a guy called John, and she was supposed to be paid 167,000 shillings if she delivers the powder successfully.
You know, Vu, it's very painful, and it's not in any way actually I even critique the Vietnamese government. I don't have any reason to critique them. They are very tough on their laws and everything, but
that's right.
You know, if there is an intervention that maybe I should ask for, she should be given a fair, free and fair trial. She should have a credible, fair trial. And this is a very complex case. She's not a drugs dealer. She's somebody she's just somebody who transported, whether she knows it knowingly or unknowingly. And the best maybe the Kenyan government can do for her is to maybe commute her death or hung to death sentence, and she should be maybe have a life imprisonment or something like that, a kind of an intervention or something like that. Because at the end of the day, Vu, these countries do relate on many levels. These two countries have a lot of, every country that even doesn't have an embassy, they do relate on any levels. But the question that Nduta brought is, how safe are Kenyan citizens in diaspora? Do we feel protected?
Dido, actually, as we continue, let me tell you something, because some people are coming in late. You see, like now, and this is what we're calling about the fact that you can actually spill verbal diarrhea on this TikTok or social media and people believe it. Look at this comment, that comment from Amorange, who's saying, Rich Kamunge and Lillian know who John is. Like, you motherfuckers are so dumb that you just buy anything that people post on this social media for clickbaits. Okay? So you see already all these fake theories, because what goes viral is also a virus. People like this are believing it. Oh, yeah, Rich Kamunge was involved, and they know who John is. Continue, Dido.
So I will say Kenya has done a lot when it comes to protecting the images of other citizens. We've done it with Akasha brothers. We've done it with Artur Magarian, Artur Sagarsian brothers. We've done it with Njoroge's case for Kenya Power and Lighting Company. There was a time the American government arrested 5 or 4 Somalis who were accused of misusing COVID money in US, and they were extradited to America. I think you remember it was some kind of a last year when FBI just stormed some of these buildings in South B and South C, and they were put on a private jet directly. Some of them were arrested katikati ya barabara wakielekea wakielekea America. So I will say the big question I will always ask Vu is, do we have a credible foreign policy as a country? If the foreign policy is not working for people, and this case for Nduta is a reflection of how our government have been handling its citizens in Saudi Arabia, our women being
Oh, yeah.
alive there, returning
yeah.
back in caskets, and at the end
That's
of the
right.
day, there is no accountability. I'm telling you, if today, Vu, an American citizen will be unalived in Saudi Arabia, there will be consequences. There will be repercussions. Things will not go easy like that. Even in other,
Talk about Saudi. Talk about Saudi, Dido. Because I want to make sure that we don't forget. I'm gonna connect these stories at the same time, because those are the two topics today that I wanted us to touch on. Today in the morning, I received a phone call. You guys remember this lady? Let's actually talk about Saudi.
Yeah.
You remember this lady here? Let me show them here. Okay. This is a Kisi lady by the name Cynthia Kerubo. Cynthia Kerubo died in Saudi Arabia a month ago. Na walisema ya kwamba alipatikana kwa bafu kama amejinyonga. Allow me to say this. It's 1 month. There is no proof. There is no investigation. There is no police report. There is no medical report. They said alipatikana kwa bafu kama amejinyonga. And let me tell you something, my fellow sisters, my dear queens in Gulf. This morning, I received a phone call that Cynthia Kerubo will be returned to Kenya on Thursday. Mwili wa Cynthia Kerubo unarudishwa Kenya Thursday. Let that sink in.
Yeah. So
continue.
So Vu, the question I will always ask is, countries are very mean. Countries are very stingy when it comes to protecting their own citizens. Are the Kenyan government doing the same for its citizens? And for heaven's sake, the Kenyans in diaspora are the largest remitters of foreign money and foreign funding and foreign remittances and revenues.
That's right.
They remit billions in billions annually back home. So the question I ask is, if this embassy, the reason why embassies are established is for the Kenyans abroad, is for the Kenyans in diaspora. If the embassies and the consulates are not working for the people, then whom are they working for? That is the question.
We should go for actually what they should do. I've always said this for the last couple of years. I've said, you know what they should do? They can actually, if these embassies and these offices are not working for the people, we might as well just shut these offices and let these people go back home. And then we can actually say it's better we have these countries with no Kenyan embassies instead of having just buildings. So what we literally have are buildings with people in there. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah. You remember Vu, the Westgate attack. Two or three Israeli officials were in that building. 3 or 2 Israeli citizens were in Westgate.
Yes.
Israel did not even waste 1 hour. They sent Mossad, not because of saving Kenyans, but to save their fellow Israelis in Westgate.
That's right. They
sent special forces, not because of 10 or 15, 2 Israelis in that Westgate attack.
That's right.
That is how countries value their people and value their citizens.
That's right. You guys remember?
Yeah, we are.
You guys remember? And now here we are with Nduta's case.
So people should not come here and tell us BS or bullshit that Kenya cannot do anything here. If indeed Artur Magarian and Artur Sagarsian were convicted of drug smuggling in this country, the Armenian brothers, evidence ilikuwa kila mahali. But the Armenian government, with all the embarrassment and shame, still had the audacity of telling Kenyans, hand over these people to us. And the Kenyan government did. They did. Artur Magarian and Artur Sagarsian, you guys remember, wakati wa Kibaki, they are in Armenia now. Okay? So,
if Galma, actually, sheesh. If Kenyans had not spoken on social media, Nduta would have been unalived. Nuta would have been gone yesterday.
You've said it. That is it. Yeah, you've said it. That is the word. The
They
reason
even
why
had
all this, the reason
Go
why
ahead.
all these voices and everything has been brought to online. Actually, Kenyans on TikTok, we are doing a job that we are not supposed to do. What Vu is doing is the job of Kenyan embassy in Thailand. It's not his job. Vu anafanya volunteering ya kazi ya embassy ya Kenya. Hizi kazi yetu tunafaa kufanya. Hii ni kazi ya diplomats, envoys, ambassadors. This is how failed our system is. Yani raia ndo wanafanya kazi ambayo watu wengine wanalipwa kufanya, representing Kenya in another country. That is how failed are we. That is how we are failed.
I mean, I have to give credit. I mean, like, I thought about it. I was actually thinking about this last night. If Kenyans never joined hands on this TikTok and they started screaming about Nuta would have been unalived yesterday. I mean, can we let that sink in? So the question is, talk about the Westgate attack. Life is so spiritual. One of my brothers, who's a long member of OTV, he came here to give his testimony. Idi Amin is here. Idi Amin was at the Westgate when Westgate was attacked. He's here. Comment right there, my brother. And the reason why Idi Amin is here, because I remember your testimony on VOTV, is because you are supposed to work on that day, right? And then your shift was at night. You are actually preparing for your shift the day the Westgate was attacked. Just touching on that. So there you go. Idi Amin is down there. Has Musalia Mudavadi spoken? No. Has Ruto spoken? Said a word?
No.
Apart from now being busy out there handing out chapatis? No. Has Wilfred Mutua spoken? Has Alfred Mutua spoken? No.
Do you know? I think there are Vietnamese prisoners in Kenya, because I remember a case of some Vietnamese and some people who were arrested because of illegal elephant ivory poaching in this country, and they were arrested at the airport. I think there is a story like that. I read it somewhere. Yes, I'm telling you, there is something. What I'm saying is, and I will be honest as far as this is concerned. The Kenyan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I think they are allocated, I don't check the number, but they receive billions in funding when it comes to allocation to these embassies. Somebody to check up. I think there was some Vietnamese who was arrested with Pembes and Dovu at the Kenyan airport. Something like that.
Is someone saying in the comment section that I saw Ruto's daughter said she spoke to her dad about Nduta? Why does the daughter have to speak to him about Nduta like some shit? She's all over social media. Like, it's even his government knows, bro. Like. Let me drink some water. From what I'm checking from my data, let me go through the facts, because I was also doing some research on that. They say, as of the latest available information, there are no significant or publicly reported cases of Vietnamese prisoners currently incarcerated in Kenyan prisons. However, this topic involves a variety of legal, diplomatic, and prison factors that can influence whether such cases are more widespread or largely unreported. So we are not officially saying that we don't have Vietnamese prisoners in Kenya.
Exactly. This is more of an hidden issue. And they've always been a prisoner exchange. These countries have always been doing this. There are people who have been found on a far much grievance cases, even murder, leave alone even these cases of drug abuse, murder. There have been
That's right.
people who have found on these grievance cases, and still their countries always believe the first approach is to save our country's image. The next is to prosecute that person in our country. This is what a good number of countries believe in. You know, some of the best countries in Africa, like Botswana, South Africa, Ghana, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, this is what they do. I remember of a case of an Algerian official who was convicted of some drug cases, I think in France or something like that, and they always have this mechanism of prosecuting and extraditing these kind of engagement. As we are currently speaking with the case of Donald Trump, he is transporting deadly prisoners from America to El Salvador.
To El Salvador.
Yeah, El Salvador.
By the way, which is right now, like here in America, that shit is all over the news because he invoked the Aliens Act. I mean, bro, like if we come to American politics right now, it's like a full shit show, bro. Like me being actually even in America right now, I don't even like give like two fucks right now because it's so much happening and it's so much going on. But I get what you know. Yeah. So he took them, although the federal judge had said they should not be taken to El Salvador. So that's now the biggest topic in America right now.
So one arrangement Kenya can do, even if Nduta is prosecuted and convicted and everything, she can serve a jail term in Kenya. That is an arrangement they can always do. They'll tell, okay, fine, you've prosecuted everything to do with her. How about she be close to her family members at least who don't have to buy expensive plane tickets or everything like that to go to Vietnam. Her family can visit her here in Kenya in committee. That is an arrangement the countries will always agree and do. That is what they will always do. You know, that is what
can we give? Dilo, can we give? Man, we have a lot of information to digest today. And by the way, you're getting it straight from the source. Let's look at this. Have we had any other African nationals who have been executed in Vietnam? Do you guys know that? Let me give you a quick update. In 2018, Kotsi Tyrone Lee, a South African man, was sentenced to death by a court in Vietnam after he was found guilty of trafficking nearly 1.5 kilos of unga from Brazil to Vietnam. Okay, now let me. It's a long statement, but let me read the closing remarks of this. Despite efforts by the South African government and various international organizations to appeal for clemency, his sentence was carried out.
What I will always say is, fine, this might happen, but this Nduta's case has brought a big discussion on what Kenyan envoys and foreign policies and foreign officers are doing abroad. Her case will not die in vain. She has brought what used to be the tip of an iceberg when it comes to Kenyan foreign policy abroad. Yes.
I agree, absolutely. Look, if this person had 1.5 kgs, Nduta had more.
And that is South Africa.
kgs. And that's South Africa.
And South Africa is powerful.
And South Africa is more powerful than Kenya. Fuck.
Yeah. This is serious, man. Mm-hmm.
It's fucking serious.
But the question is, man, the question is, okay, fine. Nduta, let's even like whatever has happened. Nduta's case has been culmination of what has been happening in Gulf countries. No, sai leo, if one member of parliament, akiiba pesa, our gluttonous members of parliament will be like, let's create commission of inquiry. Let's create commission of investigation. Has there been any commission of inquiry created by the Committee for Foreign Affairs in Kenyan Embassy, Kenyan Parliament, for the Kenyans who have died in Gulf?
No. And you're talking to someone who has, and you're talking to someone who's put. I have a petition in the parliament. My petition to protect every Kadama in the parliament, in Gulf, is in the parliament, and the answer is none.
We are so much obsessed with creating commission of inquiry today, with these cases of abuse, raping, death, and non-disappearances. Has there been any special benchmarking mission this year Interpol, Kenyan mission abroad in Gulf, have an agreement for the people who did this to be tried in Saudi courts for what they did to Kenyans. Because they did not do that to animals. They did it to sovereign citizens of Kenya. No.
Actually, as a matter of fact, in celebrating 10 years of VoTV, not one single Arab has ever been arrested or convicted in court for those crimes. Modern slavery. They have the license to kill, they have the license to grape, and we have a government.
And how many Saudi officials and UAE officials smuggling illegal gold from Congo using Kenyan ports to Dubai? A lot. We've never, they don't take care about us. We've never questioned what these guys do. I know of many gluttonous sheikhs and officials who are based in Nairobi who are smuggling Congo's gold through Kenya and then they take it to Dubai. We've never held them accountable. How many vehicles that are transported in form of Toyotas and these second-hand used vehicles that are low quality, that are transported, are imported from Dubai, that we've rejected from Saudi? None. We don't even compromise in that. We don't. How many basmati rice? How many basmati rice and foreign illegal sugars and illegal basmati rice that comes from the Gulf getting into our country, illegally competing with Kenyan local products that we've even imposed the sanction? None of it.
None.
But still, we failed in protecting the lives of innocent Kenyans abroad, especially in Gulf. That is the state of our foreign policy.
Humanity, the issue of humanity in Kenya is something that is just usually thrown under the rug. That's why, for example, like someone can just be killed, put in the coffin in Gulf, taken back home, and that's another story. Allow me, actually, let me play, because this is gonna give you body chills. Let's go back to now, because we are piggy banking between Nduta and the story of Cynthia Kirubo. Imagine you're in Kenya. You wake up in the morning and you're told your sister or your daughter has died in Saudi Arabia. Nati amejinyonga. There is no picture. There is no image. There's no police report. There is nothing. No investigation report. Unaambiwa tu alijinyonga. And then you just get this phone call telling you this.
Hi.
Yeah.
You're aware?
Yeah.
Are you Mercy?
I'm
Or Bridget?
I'm Mercy.
You're Mercy. Okay, we've been given Vincent, Mercy, and Bridget to call.
Yeah.
So I can speak to you?
Yeah.
You can pass the message to Vincent and Bridget. I'm calling you from Emirates Cargo.
Okay.
My name is Penina.
Yes.
They've told us we'll let you know that the human remains is arriving in Nairobi on 20th.
Okay.
That will be on Thursday at 7:30 p.m.
I mean, I just want you to hold on there. It's been a month. The husband is crying to me every day.
You know the thing, Vo,
And
that
the
voice.
only phone call that they could give the family, did you hear that? Is that we are calling from Emirates Cargo. And the human remains of Cynthia Kirubo will be transported on Thursday. Back to you.
You know, Vo. The Kenyan government had no humanity even of giving a call to the family of this girl. It took a private entity to inform them. That is how
It took VoTV. It took VoTV to blow whistles about this case.
Yes. The Kenyan government, even like, they could not even write a letter, explaining anything. They can't do that to the families and everything. They don't. And mind you, today, I will give you an example of Botswana and South Africa. Any national who dies abroad, the embassy of South Africa in US or even other countries, they would be told, draft a well-detailed report explaining how this citizen died in this country. The ambassador is given that role. He's told explain the events that led to the death of this person in this country. You remember that case of a South African lady who was left by her husband, was beaten. I think it was in Bulgaria or something like that. A South African woman. You remember?
What happened in Bulgaria?
I think it was in one of these countries in Europe. So alienda akaoa somebody from Europe, and then she was abused, alikuwa na gender-based violence and everything. The South African embassy in that country in Europe, they called the lady and told her, you will no longer suffer. Come, we give you ticket, we send you back home, we deal with the case, and we shall follow it up for you on your behalf.
Which reminds me, again, because VOTV have done tens of thousands of interviews, reminds me about 3 years ago, if you remember, I hosted the mother of Janet Achieng, the lady who was found dead in Albania. Her body was thrown from the 3rd floor. You guys remember that story? And
Yep.
I'm the one who broke that story, and I had the mother, and the mother was here. The mother had to fly from Kenya to Albania, and there were questions about how she died, because they said she left work after midnight, got home, someone took her home. She got home, she called the mother. That was the last call. She was found dead. Marshall, remember, right? Marshall, I would always pinpoint at Marshall because Marshall.
Yeah, I remember. I recall that information.
And do you know that there was no, listen, that story just ended like that. No one was arrested.
You know, Vu. And mind you, that was a gender-based violence case the South Africans were handling for that poor woman in a Europe country. That is violation of her right. And she was told, report back to the embassy, we give you the tickets and everything, and we shall take care of your kids, put them in good custody, and when you come to the court, I think in one of those countries, Romania, we shall foot the fees for you to take that man to court. That is what an embassy can do for its people abroad. The other day, some poor Tanzanian Italian guy who was abandoned and he was dragged and everything was found, I think, in Tanzania, and he was taken to the Italian embassy, and they said, we are going to take care of everything and send the man back home and discuss on everything. This is the work of embassy. The work of embassy is not just to walk around and just moving in diplomatic vehicles, moving in expensive diplomatic vehicles and flags and diplomatic
community. And be
community.
proud about the diplomatic community, that we are untouchable.
Yeah, they are untouchable because nobody is going to touch their bags. That is the sad reality, Vu.
So in other words, we can say we are fucked. As this issue of Nduta is all over the place, I was actually, like I said, that's why I was even asking these questions. Has Musalia Mudavadi given any statement? No. Has he spoken as the head of his office? No. And yet, if you look at their platform, just go to their pages right now, especially on Twitter. Right now, they are busy entertaining the royal family from the Netherlands. When we have a Kenyan who's facing death in Vietnam. That is what, have you guys seen that? Right now, it's all about the royal family from the Netherlands. That's the story. You'd have expected that the government would put everything on the side and blow whistles and make Nduta the main subject. Because when you rescue one Kenyan, you've rescued the entire nation. How many times do we have to remind ourselves that the government has failed us? How many times? How many times do we have to remind ourselves that we are on our own? How many times?
Do you know, Vu, the other day I went to the Kenyan embassy in Berlin as a student. Because I'm doing my master's here in Germany.
Yeah.
Vu, I just went there kusalimia. Like, I just wanted to know what's happening with our embassy.
Yeah.
Vu, I stood there for more than 5 hours for them to verify, for them to check. And I'm not there to ask for any help. I'm just like, hey, I'm a patriotic Kenyan. I want to know how my taxpayer is being utilized in this country through this embassy. Nothing else.
If I start talking about the embassy in Berlin, that's going to be a long story.
Yep. So, it's high time we ask ourselves, these billions of money that we take from public taxpayers' money, is the foreign affairs offices really working for Kenyans, or they are just representation of Kenya's oligarch interest abroad? Honestly speaking,
Wow.
yes, that is the high time. Because
I see
Leo,
that comment by Abdi saying these agents companies must be sued, and Kenya doesn't have embassies but business offices. That's a statement in the comment section, by the way. I had to read that out.
these are business offices, and I'm telling you, all of these embassies abroad, it's like a family entity. The ambassador brings his cousin to be the secretary. He brings his uncle to be the accountant. He brings his daughter's son to be the secretary. That is how they do, by the way. That if you really want to know the pattern of our foreign embassies, mutaona hizo vitu, they are very clear. All of them are related. It's like an extended family tree, but in diaspora. That is what they do.
The statement that we don't have embassies in the diaspora, that these are business offices, man, that hits different. Rose Odili, alafu wanafanya party kila mwaka.
Ni kama uende vita vu, na unajua, ni kama uende vita, na unajua, you are getting into the battlefield blind.
With no armor.
Hauna protection vest.
With no armor.
Hauna zile rays, hauna armor. It's like you are on the last magazine of your bullets, and still you are heading into the battlefield with no one to back you up. All the battalions are finished. You are the only person. That is the case for the Kenyan embassies abroad. Kenyans, we feel because of this flag, that we feel kind of like, everybody respects us and everything. They do. International community, they respect Kenyans. But the people whom we thought are the ones to protect us, they don't give a fuck about us. Yeah.
So we are fucked.
We are messed up. We are messed up.
Abdi is saying, exactly, bro. You can't get the services as a patriotic Kenya. Ni lazima uwe na godfathers. If it took you 5 hours just to be attended to in Berlin, then what do you think about then a place like Saudi Arabia?
Do you know what Americans do with their foreign affairs office? Actually, Donald Trump has no political power in appointing ambassadors. There are two types of ambassadors in America. There is the political appointment, and then there is bureaucratic. Those people who rose through the rank, they are not either Democrats or they are Republicans. Robert Godek, the former Kenyan American ambassador to Kenya, was a bureaucrat. That guy, even Trump came, Obama came, nobody has the right to fire him. That is a fully competent person there. In Kenya, the likes of Robinson, Gidea, and Kimani, they were just recalled immediately. Ruto gained power because they were installed there by Uhuru. So all our appointments are political. Nobody there is there to serve the patriotic interest of Kenya. Country kama USA wamesema, no matter how interest and political tuko nayo, vitu za foreign affairs, wacha tupe wazalendo, tusiweke siasa. That's what they say.
That's a very nice point. You're right.
That is why FBI
and they don't intervene, and that's a whole department on its own.
Like kama FBI wakienda kushika mtu or anybody, they don't care whether you are a Republican or Democrat. They are there to protect the flags of United States.
That's right. Let me just say, like, I was about to make that to reply to what one of our brothers said. Brother Abdi said in the comment section. Look, these agents will never be sued by anybody. My friend, the government officials, they own agencies in Kenya. So how do you expect them to sue? Let's just be realistic. You see, the good thing, the thing, we're looking at facts. We're looking at facts right here. Okay? We're looking at facts. So don't expect anybody to sue. And even in Duta's story, who is this John guy? Who is John? They keep on talking about like the John guy who gave her the powder. Who is this John guy? Do we have his full identity? Where is he from? So still, there are so many loopholes in the Nduta story. And that's why we're saying at the end of the day, I do pray and hope that Nduta will get the chance and opportunity to tell her own side of the story in her own words, and not just all these speculations that are going on this social media, because social media is toxic, bro. And I give a perfect example. I said, look, yesterday on Twitter, all of a sudden someone said, hey, Nuta has been executed. And people believed it. And people believed it. Can you imagine? So bad that they were actually posting RIP posters on Twitter. Now imagine as a family member. Imagine if a member of the family just woke up and went on Twitter and seeing posters on Joki that she has been executed. This is so sad. But at the end of the day, it's also sad. Listen, can I say something, bro? The Kenyan government did not react the way it's supposed to react. I'm not seeing any public effort. There should have been a statement from the office of the president. There should have been an official statement by Musalia Mudavadi. There should have been an official statement by the Ministry of Labor. There should have been an official statement by Honorable Rosalind Jogu, who's the head of the the Department of Diaspora Affairs. But guess what? Right now, that's not something which is of interest to them. It's about welcoming the loyal family from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I mean, my fellow Kenyans, how do you feel about this?
That is the reality. Yeah. And usually what one of the embassies do also, like the embassies in UK and Europe, they usually give foreign advisories to their citizens who are traveling to other countries. Tell me one kind of advisory or emergency kind of guideline or a kind of a memo usually these embassies abroad usually give to the citizens in Saudi. Tell me one mechanism if a lady gets into a problem of, if a lady gets into a problem with her employer, the kadama and everything. Tell me one mechanism where they can call a toll-free number, they can reach out to one of the volunteers and field agents of the embassy who can come, assess the situation, reach out to partners, escalate the issue from a national level to an international level back with the Kenyan embassy. There is no mechanism. So the only mechanism Kenyans have abroad is TikTok. So if there was no TikTok, then we would have been dead long time ago.
That's true. And that's why, like, everybody who just, again, I repeat, we're celebrating 10 years of OTV, and for them, their office, listen, Brother Dido, it's so bad that I even have right now in my fucking inbox people who left Kenya 1 week ago, Kadamas, coming to VoTV asking for help.
Yep.
1 week. And actually talk about that because I've seen it and I've seen it all. There's something I want to share with my fellow sisters, especially the new ones who are going to this place called God. So yesterday, someone reached out to me early in the morning. And she told me that she left Kenya 1 month ago and went to Lebanon. And when she went to Lebanon, according to this lady, she sent me a picture that she had been badly beaten. And first of all, I'm going to show you the picture that I'm talking about. This picture right here. Akaniambia alichapwa vibaya sana na mwajiri wake. Now, the first thing what I did, when I received that picture, I was very, very angry. Ukiangalia hiyo picha, you'll believe the story at first sight. Ladies and gentlemen, wacha nitoe, then I'll talk. Hiyo picha umeona hapo is a filter. Alitumia picha ya Snapchat to claim amepigwa na boss wake. Let me come back here again. Hapa. Ini filter dido. People forget that we have tools that can analyze a picture.
Yeah, actually, one red flag is her confidence to put on the glasses as if she's fancying and she's still injured.
People forget that we have something called image forensics that we can run on these computers. So huyu msichana, and actually let me watch kaa hapo kidogo for free marketing. Now, these are kind of nonsense that I would not tolerate on Vo TV. Ujinga musinilete. But and then comes the next question and the next statement I want to make. Lebanon ilifungwa kitambo sana, and you people are still going there. In 2025, we are not accepting any of these cases here. OG in the filter. So what they are doing is, for them to get my sympathy, don't try to come to Vo TV with this kind of ujinga.
Wow.
So just FYI. Now the problem is, when they come, someone like this ataribia watu wengi sana. Again, I repeat, there she is. That image is not real. That image is a filter. That's pride, yes. They are still traveling, and wataendelea could travel. So the same way Nduta smuggled powder, the same way they'll keep on traveling. This has been a very, 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 very nice conversation and a very deep conversation.
Thank you so much.
Let's go back. Dido, I wanna, we have to look at this thing from a happy ending for Nduta or the other reality facing Nduta's case. Like I said, in 2018, a South African was arrested in Vietnam carrying 1.5 kilos of powder. Lee was sentenced to death. There was international intervention. South Africa is a more powerful country than Kenya, and still Lee was executed. Nduta had 2.2 kilos of unga. So what are the chances?
Yeah, it's painful to break this to you, Vu. Unless miracle happens,
Yeah.
there is what we always call the law of precedence. The law of precedence is, usually when you go to court, they will refer you to previous similar cases. If today maybe I will be arrested on some things, they will quote the cases that has been processed in before, and they will use the law of precedence to prosecute me. But if something has never been done, it is what they call setting the precedence. Now you will be like starting that kind of a stuff. Like you will be the first person who has been prosecuted as in line to do with this. But now when you look at the law of precedence, they will check previous sentencing, and if there is a very strong precedences of the judges' comments and the judges and everything, they will just uphold it. And no matter how I love this to have a good ending, unless miracle happens, that was in 2018, now we are in 2025, maybe.
That's right.
But
That's right.
Unless some extraordinary strengths will be pulled, it will be very difficult for her to really make out of this, regarding that even Vietnam is a country that is really trying to pass a message to other citizens who are coming into the country that
That's
if
what
we are
they
going
say.
to let this go, it will be
Yeah.
a room for tolerance for others to do more
Others to
things,
come
knowing
through.
that,
That's right.
knowing
I
that
agree.
we will always be forgiven. So they will also have
I
something to
agree.
uphold. They will say, we want to set an example. So it's a very gray area. It's very difficult. Yeah.
Join Telegram. Come on, join Telegram. We have OTV. Just keep on pushing. Whichever way you can, una support. Now, tuanzia wapi? Let me first of all do an official presser for the Margaret Nduta story. Okay, so we're gonna start today. We're gonna cover. I have two main topics today. Topic number one, okay, D himself. Okay, someone like you see, like now D himself. Yeah, Jewy. It's actually exactly. It's not, today is exactly 14 days since our page was hacked. It's exactly 2 weeks now. So mtu kama D himself unaona amekuwa akinitafuta anioni. So D himself, can you follow the new page? So as you keep on watching the show, keep on dropping pale hapo kwa comment section, follow page, follow VoTV new page, follow page. I want us to quit. We are a movement. We are a movement. So, tuanzia wapi? I've been documenting the Margaret Nduta story from a press perspective as VoTV. And there is something I want to say, I want to tell you tonight. Number one, Historia ya Nduta, whatever is viral is also a virus. Okay? Whatever is viral is also becomes a virus. Remember that. That's why me personally, I never use the word viral and I never use the word trending. Let me warn you about those two words. That's why I never use the word viral and I never use the word trending. Because whatever becomes viral becomes a virus. Do we agree? And the perfect example is the Margaret Nduta story. The Margaret Nduta story is everywhere. You go on Twitter, you go on YouTube, you come on TikTok, you go to Facebook. The Margaret Nduta story is everywhere. And unfortunately, you find that so many fake pages are also being created, especially on Twitter. So many fake pages are being created on TikTok, assuming they know the latest news about Margaret Nduta. Now, me as VoTV, I've been documenting this story from a perspective of bringing you official information from the government institutions, what they're saying. So, let me first of all debunk theory number one. Surprisingly, today, a clown on TikTok posted a video saying Mike Sonko has gone to Vietnam to negotiate so that Margaret Nduta cannot be executed. And what this clown did, he went to Mike Sonko's page, took a picture that Mike Sonko was standing next to some Chinese investors, took that picture, made a video, and said, Mike Sonko right now is in Vietnam. Nonsense. Ujinga. Wanamoderi. Do you see how you get fooled every day on social media? Do you see how you get fooled every day on social media? Let me debunk some few theories that are circulating on this social media because people have lost their mind. And like Mike, let me play this clip on. That's my song.
Huyu jamaa anaitwa African Sponsor kwa TikTok anasema, acha nisome hii. African Sponsor anasema hivi ati Sonko has just landed in Vietnam to negotiate the release of Margaret.
Sonko has just landed in Vietnam to negotiate the release of Margaret Nduta. I mean, this clown took that picture of Mike Sonko standing next to some Chinese investors and made a video on TikTok. But guess what? Again, I repeat, when something is viral, it becomes a virus and people lose their sense of logic and they just think with emotions. That is exactly what happens. So you find even on that video on TikTok, a lot of people are commenting and they're commenting and they're commenting and they're commenting. And now because I'm here to give you, to debunk all the craziness that is going on social media about the Margaret Nduta story, there is something else I also saw. There is a clown on TikTok and there is a clown on YouTube who actually even made a video saying that, oh my God, that Rich Kamunge and the Lillian are the ones who booked this is even shameful for me to talk about. Someone on TikTok just wakes up in the morning and makes a video with Rich Kamunge's picture and Lillian's picture and says, these people are the ones that are the agents that were involved in sending Nduta to Vietnam. Crazy shit. And by the way, I don't give yes, Rosie, it's crazy. Listen, do you know what's crazy? That video on YouTube has been watched over 227,000 times. Crazy. And guess what? People are just commenting. And listen, everybody here who's watching, all my Vote TV family members, can you keep on typing in the comment section every 10 minutes? Follow new page. And let me tell you something. Na hivyo ndivyo watu hupigwa vita hii social media for nothing. Someone can wake up in the morning and create a fake story and a fake story and put some pictures and there you go. Especially on this TikTok, because TikTok is toxic. Kenyan TikTok is so toxic that people have lost their mind and they cannot connect with what is real and what is fake. Zindio. That's why you have some clowns who come up with, Kenyan TikTok has become like a reality show. And because it's so toxic, people can say anything and they can post anything. So let me first of all debunk those two theories. The Mike Sonko story that he went to Vietnam, nonsense. The story of Rich Kamunge and Lillian, that they were the agents who booked the ticket for whatever, all that is bullshit. But who am I telling? It's easier to fool people than to convince them that they're being fooled. That's my favorite Mark Twain phrase of all times. I repeat, it's easier to fool people than to convince them that you're being fooled. Now, let me talk about the third theory that was on Twitter yesterday, and people were believing it. Now, let's come back to Nduta. Margaret Nduta was supposed to be executed yesterday. Correct? March 17th was when Margaret Nduta was supposed to be executed. Jana. And guess what? People on Twitter started posting, Margaret Nduta ameuliwa. Crazy shit. No, I'm in the East Coast. It's 4:33 p.m. It's 4:33 p.m. in the East Coast. So that's Twitter. They said Margaret Njoki has been executed. And people kept on believing the nonsense. People kept on retweeting. People kept on posting. People kept on retweeting. People kept on posting. I repeat, Mark Twain, it's easier to fool people than to convince them that they're being fooled. Let me continue. On Twitter, they have an AI tool called Grok, Grok. And so what happens, because it's an AI tool, besides when you post on Twitter, which is now X, when you post a tweet, next to your tweet, there is the AI tool called Grok that analyzes your tweet. And because there were so many people on Twitter saying that Margaret Nduta has been executed, what happened is Grok is an AI tool. The more you keep on saying that she has been executed, the more the AI tool says, okay, yes, she has been executed. That was another fake story on Twitter. What goes viral becomes a virus. And that's why even myself, I've learned a very big lesson, because a lot of my content goes viral. Carol, wait. A lot of my content goes viral, but there is one thing you never hear me say. I never say my stuff is viral. You never hear me say trending. And also, you realize I always attach myself to a story up to a certain point, because a good dancer knows when to leave the stage. Thank you very much, Carol. So Carol UK is asking, is Nduta coming back to Kenya? Now, let's look at the legalities, the legal challenges that our government is facing. And I'm going to give you listen, whatever I'm telling you, whatever I'm documenting, it's strictly what I'm watching on the government's page. The principal secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Korir, said, I've spoken to the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs in Vietnam. It's a female. And by the way, you know she's called Honorable Hang. You get it? Crazy, right? The universe is interesting, right? Margaret Nduta has been sentenced to death by hanging, and the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs in Vietnam is called Honorable Hang. Just by the way. Wait a minute, we're gonna get into all that. Pin that comment here, Chief Justice. We're gonna get into all that shit. So that's the official information. And they said they are negotiating. They are negotiating. There is nowhere that they said, oh, Nduta will be taken from Vietnam to Kenya. There is nowhere that we have any official statement saying that Margaret Nduta was executed yesterday. All that is bullshit, man. All that was bullshit. Bro, all that was nonsense. But on this TikTok, people don't use their brains. They think with their emotions. And you can manipulate people's emotions. That's the truth. Are we together? So let's move on. And I'm going to keep on repeating this. The nonsense, this nonsense that Mike Sonko went to Vietnam and is negotiating with Vietnam to stop the execution of Margaret Nduta. That's nonsense. Garbage, trash. These are the theory that Rish Kamunge and Lillian are the agents who booked the ticket for Margaret Nduta to go to Vietnam. It's also bullshit, bogus. But people will believe that because it's easier to believe lies and propaganda than telling people this is the truth. And people are so lazy that they don't want to read. Mam Rehan, thank you very much. We're gonna get into that. Can you pin that comment about your Mam Rehan was saying it's given till May 6th to appeal the case. Allah Akbar. And if you look at all the major news networks in Kenya, which include Citizen, KTN, everyone is saying they are negotiating. Don't buy any other nonsense on this social media. And by the way, let me tell you something, because all Kenyans right now, they are flooded on TikTok. Don't buy any nonsense that is being spread on this TikTok. It's a sad thing that people have to wake up in the morning and start spreading lies because it's a trending story. Have you seen Margaret Nduta's family? Are you thinking about her family? Are you thinking about her mother? Ile ambayo iliniudhi kabisa of all theories. Iya Mike Sonko ni shadow. Lakini mwanamke mzima anachukua kamera anasema Rich Kamunge and Lillian ndio walibook ticket. And then she says, sina lawyer. And you post it. Just to get some views. Rosie, Mimi, I see you, Queen. Welcome to the new page. And people still buy that nonsense. You can post something like that for clicks and views. But this thing called the universe will come for you. This thing called the universe will come for you. Now, there is one thing I'm going to keep on pushing this message. My fellow Kenyans, Margaret Nduta ni Mkikuyu, right? But Kenyans, we are not here to be defined by tribe. Ujinga mkanao sijui gema for gema, mera for meras, milaya for milayas. That nonsense also has to stop. Do you know the senator? Because people don't think and people don't read. Do you know the senator who actually tabled the motion and wrote an open letter to Honorable William Ruto, the president, is from Kisii County? Hello? Hello? The senator who penned an open letter to Honorable William Ruto was from Kisii County. He was not from Kirinyaga, not from Kiambu, not from Nyeri, not from Muranga, not from Sijui Wapi, not Sijui from Gema for Gema. Fuck that shit, bro. The only language, my fellow Kenyans, you should be preaching on this TikTok is called LLC. Not a company. Love, logic, and common sense. I am Kikuyu. But I will not be defined by my tribe. And all of you Kenyans. So let me tell you, and that was the question I was asking you folks. I was like, okay, now you come up with this shit. Okay? Gema, Gekoyo, Embu, Meru, Akamba. Fuck that shit. We have 38 tribes in Kenya. Sorry. We have 42 tribes in Kenya. What's going to happen with the other 42? With the other 38? What will happen? Kenya si ya Gema peke yake. Look, It's not a problem. Why can't we join hands? Why can't we join hands and say we're going to unite as Kenyans to build Kenyans for Kenyans? Can I get an amen? And guys, by the way, can you follow this new page? I'm going to keep on repeating this all the time. My Vote TV family page with 400,000 followers was hacked 2 weeks ago. I'm still pleading with TikTok to get my page back. But meanwhile, follow this page. Do you guys agree? Am I making sense? Let me ask you a question. Nduta is a Gekoyo. But the Kenyans from all tribes joined together and were praying for Nduta. Do you think the Kisii people are like, si Mkikuyu tutamwombea? Do you think the Luos were like, ni mtu wa Murema tutamwombea? No! So actually, the Nduta story is a wake-up call to us Kenyans that if we stand up and we unite, we can move Kenya to the next level. But if you divide, you fall. Am I making sense? So then there is something else I wanna, because I was reading, I read the open letter that Honorable Richard Onyonka penned to the president. There is something that he said. Na hapa itabidi niongee lugha ingine nionchanganya hii TikTok. Let me ask you a question. Nani ameona video ya Margaret Nduta vile alishikwa airport na kilo 2 za unga? Mikono juu. Have you seen the video? Kilo ngapi? Ngoja kwanza guys. Si pakiti ya nini? Si pakiti ya unga ugali na kwanga na nini? Ni how many kgs? Ni 2 kgs. Pakiti ya unga si 2 kgs. Sindio? For you to understand. Yes, she was arrested with what? With 2 kgs. And that's exactly 2,000 grams. Are we together? That's exactly 2,000 grams. Okay, perfect. So you can actually use that to leverage and to try to figure out and to see the quantity Margaret Nduta was carrying. Rose Comare, yes, listen, on the video it might look less. This is fine powder. The video can give you the wrong impression, but hata ukiangalia, what they place on the table is allowed. Do you know how much is allowed? Do you know how much is allowed? In Vietnam, who knows the minimum? No, they're not pictures, they're videos, Mam Rayan. We have all the videos. You have to make sure that you're in the right platform. Do you know what's the minimum? Okay, let me give you an example. Ray is saying 600 grams. Thank you very much. Pin that comment by Evermore Studios. The minimum is 100 grams. That's the Vietnam Penal Code 2015, which was actually revised in 2017. The minimum you're allowed is 100 grams. If you are arrested with more than 100 grams, or anything from 100 grams, you'll be sentenced to death in Vietnam. Now, I've been doing my research, bro. Every second month in Vietnam, dozens of people are executed because of madawa ya kulevya. They have different, go check, I've read the penal code. The penal code 2015 Baba Imani in 2015 was 600 grams, but in 2017, it was revised. It's 100 grams, Babo. Go check the Vietnam Penal Code 1917, paragraph 149 and 150. Westkap, Westkap, noch nicht. Noch nicht. Okay? So, I'm gonna give another perfect example. In 2013, an American citizen by the name of Jason Dean was arrested in Vietnam en route to Australia kama amebeba madawa ya kulevya in his underwear. If you look at the bag that he was carrying, it was like this small. Alikuwa amesunda unga kwa ngodha. He was arrested and he was sentenced to death. That was 2013. And then they went through the process. There was a question about the quantity. They said, no, it was less, whatever. And then the execution was scrapped off. Let's come back to Margaret Nduta. Nduta was arrested July 2023. Now it's March 2025. That's over 18 months. Let's look at the legal challenges that the Kenyan government is facing. Number one, we don't have any bilateral agreement with Vietnam. We don't have a Kenyan embassy in Vietnam. And with that said and done, there is no prison transfer agreement that can occur between these two countries because of the lack of bilateral agreements. So everything that the Kenyan government is doing right now has to be negotiated through Bangkok. Welcome everybody. And guys, mukingia hapa, this is a new page. This is a new Vote TV page. Thank you, Lucy Joseph. Thank you. Follow our new page as we still await for our old page to be recovered. Okay. Now, Mash, I've seen your comment. That has also been a discussion. People are saying, this looked like it was not the first time she did that. You know what I say? Whether it was her first time or her 10th time, I'm going to let Margaret Nduta tell that part of the story. I will not make any speculations. But yes, of course, there are people who are on these social media blasting any kind of nonsense that you can think about. Now, this is the interesting part. Another theory I want to debunk. The Margaret Nduta story also becomes political. There was a group of people on social media who actually made some very interesting flyers and some very interesting videos saying President Uhuru Kenyatta is the one who called the president of Vietnam because the Vietnamese president refused to talk to President William Ruto. Sounds interesting, right? Do you buy that nonsense? Did you buy that nonsense? Did you buy that shenanigans? People saying that former President Uhuru Kenyatta is the one who called the president because the Vietnamese president refused to communicate with President William Ruto. And then the whole shenanigans, they start, oh, because Ruto is this, Ruto is that, blah, 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 blah. People, you hype the noise on social media and you forget the facts. Nowhere do we have any public confirmation that Uhuru Kenyatta or Ruto called the president. But we have, on public domain, confirmation that it was a communication between the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Kenya, the Office of the Foreign Affairs in Kenya, and the Office of the Foreign Affairs in Vietnam. Kalas. Fucking common sense, bro. Now you involve Uhuru Kenyatta and you start making some flyers and you start posting some videos and again, I repeat, Mark Twain, it's easier to fool people than to convince people that you're being fooled. We are living at times where people will believe anything on social media than even what they read on the Bible. You can come on this social media and tell people that you can kill. Then you tell them the Bible says, thou shalt not kill, and they will say you're lying. We have lost common sense. Do we agree? Do we agree? Oh, yeah. By the way, you can enjoy your shenanigans. And I kept on saying that this TikTok will keep on getting so toxic that a point will come that there will be nothing on this TikTok than just umbea, moshene, and chai. That's exactly where you are. You will always reap what you sow. You cannot plant mahindi, uvuna makorofia. Doesn't work like that. The universe does not work like that. If you plant hate, you'll harvest hate. If you plant love, you'll harvest love. Are we together? Let me tell you something. If you come on this TikTok and you believe everything you see on TikTok or you consume on TikTok, even you really need to go and get accessed. And you need a doctor. That's where we are. And even the Margaret Nduta story is a perfect example that people can wake up in the morning and they can post anything, that they can open up lives on TikTok and on YouTube and on Facebook, and they can say anything and the masses will believe. We have lost the sense of logic. But who am I telling? Mark Twain. It's easier to fool people than to convince them that they're being fooled. We are living at times where we have technology. We are living at times when we have smartphones. We are living at times where we have artificial intelligence. We are living at times when we have the most powerful search engines and the best ones since God created Adam and Eve. There was no TikTok when Moses was ordered by God to go to Mount Sinai and pick up the commandments. There was no Facebook when Moses rescued the children of Israel from slavery in Egypt. Our grandparents did not have the pleasure of talking to their husbands and wives on video. But they maintained their marriages for 60, 70, or even until death did them apart. Don't push this thing on Gen Z. The last thing you want to come and talk to me about is Gen Z nonsense. I'm not buying that talk. Common sense has nothing to do with whether you're Gen Z or Gen X or millennial. It's about you. Margaret Nduta. The other official statement that I want to make, according to Honorable Richard Onyonka, who filed the petition and penned the open letter to President William Ruto, he said the government should have intervened in Duta's case long time ago. I agree. Mbona history ya Nduta aligojea tu mpaka ile wakati amesema tiende akanyongwe? That's when everybody was speaking. That was a mistake. Then number two, and this is the part we want to make very clear to everybody. The attempt right now is to save her life. But even if she comes to Kenya, which we all pray and wish for, if she comes to Kenya, she will still have to face the legal repercussions. Let me ask you a question. Since July 2023 up to now, why didn't the family talk about it? But from what I've heard, even the person who was on the forefront and was trying to push about it and came up with the story, he was even told by the family, don't come to our place. So I do believe no. March, I think you came in late. Again, social media being misused. Again, what is viral becoming a virus. People waking up in the morning and saying that Rish Kamunge and Lillian are involved in the case is nothing but just pure garbage and pure trash and pure lies and pure propaganda. But it's easier to convince people with lies than with the truth. Are we together? Are we together? It's so tough to tell people you are being fooled. And that's where we are with this social media. What we know is what is on public domain from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. What I'm telling you tonight, don't buy any other crap and don't buy any other theory and don't buy any other lie. These people are just there for the clickbaits, and clickbaits only. That's a sad reality. And even I think I saw a comment from one of our brothers, Chief. Yes. Yesterday on Twitter, people started posting, Nduta has been killed. Nduta has been executed. You know what they started doing next? You know what they started doing next? They started taking Nduta's picture, typing RIP, and posting it on Twitter. Right now, nobody knows. We only know what was updated on Monday and nothing else. But when people just become so impatient, they start making their own speculations. Ever imagine? Familia Nduta, they wake up and they start seeing flyers of Zimandiko RIP. You guys think that TikTok is toxic? Get on Twitter. You think TikTok is toxic? Twitter is fucked up. And because there is an AI tool called Grok that is analyzing everything which is being posted, the story of Nduta being executed was so hyped on Twitter that even the AI tool that is analyzing all the posts to tell us if it's true or not started saying, oh yes, Nduta has been executed on March 17th at 8:20 p.m. Ain't that scary? Ain't that scary? Now, because I'm a Twitter user, I don't rely on any fact from Grok because I realized this AI tool is just analyzing what is being said. And if, let's say, let me give an example. Let's say 1 million people post on Twitter that Nduta has been executed. Do you know what they will do? Do you know what the AI tool will do? The AI tool will exactly believe that Nduta has been executed, and the AI tool, which is Grok, will give the same output. Sad times we're living in. And that's the truth. Have you seen Nduta's family? Have you seen her mother? Have you seen where they come from? Have you seen? Have you looked at the structure of the homes where the houses or the homes where she comes from? Does it look like she comes from a background that is so wealthy and so rich? Does it? Does it? You know, there are those things you just look at and you go like, man, this one right here, this is tough. So who are we to question why she did it? Who are we to question? How many of you are here who left Kenya to go and seek greener pastures because you come from the same place like Nduta came from? Huh? So what makes you think you're better than Nduta? Huh? Let he who has not sinned cast the first stone. Some of you who actually are living outside Kenya or who left Kenya, maybe you went to Gulf, washe Mwarabu matako, and then come and cry on social media how Mwarabu anakutumia na vile munauliwa. That is not different. This is someone who was trying to provide for her family. I'm not defending the crime, but I'm not questioning the act. Hii serikali ya kasongo ya chapati. If someone came to you and told you, look, are you hungry? You need food? You can take these 2 kgs of unga and take them to Vietnam, and I will pay you 167,000 shillings. Trust you me. Somebody will say yes. Kani mbaya mbaya. My children are hungry. My family is hungry, and I need to put food on the table. And they will say, kama ni mbaya mbaya. If I have to go to Ethiopia with the bus, I will do that shit. If I'll have to walk, I will walk. And with that said and done, let me welcome my brother all the way from, he'll introduce himself.
Thank you, VoTV. Before I even start, man, I don't know how much I should thank you. You have been a credible voice, a bold voice. You have your own family, you have your own life. You are a very comfortable person, but you just decided to do this, out of your own will. And
Yeah.
I mean, it is said it's only God will choose the few to speak for the many, and
That's
you
right.
are one of the chosen, ndugu yangu. Don't feel like you are doing this alone. You are really becoming a very, I mean, you are already a credible voice, and whatever you are speaking really makes sense to us. And in this
you.
month of Ramadan, you are the people whom I will always pray for. You
Wow.
you are the leading face of Kenyans in diaspora, and you've always been ahead and doing these things. And ndugu yangu, when I received the news of Nduta, and I was asking myself, there was a similar situation that happened in Rwanda, and it took Rwandan government like very immediate intervention, because for them, a Rwandese citizen is a sovereign, a supreme citizen of the country. And even Kagame had to go and talk face to face with the leader of that country. I'm yet to check, but I will tell you, they had to do what they call prisoner exchange. They said,
Yes.
this person, fine, he has been found on this, but how about we try him or her on the Kenyan law, on the Kenyan land, and in case we have any kind of a drug cartel or any kind of a problem with Thailand or any kind of stuff, we will do a similar exchange. This is what Americans do. This is what other communities do.
That's right.
Because Nduta's story today, she is not a voter of Thailand. She is not a citizen of Thailand. She is not under any jurisdiction to be prosecuted through a Thailand's law. She has every right to be prosecuted kama amefanya makosa through the Kenyan law or through the international law.
That's right.
All I'm saying, ndugu yangu, this is embarrassment to our embassy. This is embarrassment to our sovereignty. Leave alone even the story and Nduta. The way our people have been abused in the Gulf. Kuna some countries wanaona ni kama embarrassment. Wanaona ni kama
That's right.
This is going to tarnish our image. Let's do a deal. Let that person be brought. Kama Nduta amefanya hiyo makosa, wafanye exchange, aletwe Kenya, akuwe na fair trial huku, akipatikana ni sawa, na asipopatikana pia, she will be fairly prosecuted under the Kenyan law.
That's right. And by the way, Dido, as we continue, by the way, this is my brother all the way from, if I'm not wrong, it's Isiolo.
Yes.
This is a candidate from Isiolo. And by the way, Dido, as we continue, do you see why I talk? That's why even at the beginning of my speech, I'm rebuking this so-called gamer for gamer nonsense, because Kenya belongs to everyone. It doesn't belong to only a specific a specific group of Kenyan communities. But anyway, there is something that you've said that I also said yesterday. There can be a prisoner's swap, right?
Yes.
Look, for example, even like with Israel and the Palestinians, right? See, that's what they're doing. Even if it's fucked up what's going on there, which is actually none of our business, but I'm going to use that as reference. They exchange prisoners, and Kenya can do the same. Now, there was a key question in on that subject, Dido. Do we have any Vietnamese prisoners in Kenya? Do you know that?
I think that is a question we can inquire, but there is an intervention, and the intervention I want to give is a similar situation. You remember the Artur Sagastian brothers from Armenia?
Yeah.
In 2003, these two brothers were found guilty of drug cartel and drug smuggling in Kenya during Kibaki's government. And the Armenian government said, actually Artur Magarian and Artur Sagastian, they are far much worse than Nduta, because Nduta might just be used as a pawn, but these ones are the dealers. These are the key actors. The Armenian government reached out to Kibaki and told them, handle the guys to us, we shall prosecute them under our law, and in exchange, we are going to do some key trade agreements and concession, and if we are going to foot the fines that is equivalent to what Artur Magarian and Artur Sagastian brothers did in Kenya. You know?
Yes.
So this is something that has happened in Kenya before. And the way government works together in embassies and in consulates and everything, there is what we call compromise. They will say, okay, fine, Vietnam. Currently, Kenya imports a huge chunk of electronics from Vietnam, be it phones, semiconductor chips, electronics, a lot of them from Vietnam. Even watch, this Casio watch and everything you see in Kenya is from Vietnam. So if they will say, let us calm down, let us tone down the pressure, what we are going to do, we are going to prosecute and we are going to foot any kind of constitutional and legal damages Nduta has done to your country in exchange of few trade, economic, or any kind of consular relations that we are going to establish. That can be done. This is very easy. And mind you, this has been happening in international law system, Brother Vu. When you look at the Russian-USA prisoner exchange, most of the people who have been exchanged for
Iran,
and most of them are, these are secret agents, espionage, these treasonous acts, leave alone Nduta. These are people who have leaked government intelligence.
I like that. That's a point for you guys to take note. Way worse.
These are people who have leaked government intelligence. This is far much worse. This is an espionage level. And still, there was an exchange that was done. Mind you, so for Nduta's case, one thing, I will be honest with you, it's only that Kenyan foreign policy doesn't care about its people. Honestly speaking, Kenyan foreign policy is not people-centered. Kenyan foreign policy is economic interest-centered. If today Nduta is a son, or if Nduta today,
but then, as we continue, let me listen. You know, I always give you your flowers. Let me read this comment from Rose G as we continue. The comments are commenting. Somebody saying, I can listen to this dude all day. Brains on another level. If you come to Vote TV, this is what you get. If you come to Vote TV, you get knowledge. If you come to Vote TV, you get motivation. if you come to Vote TV, we speak the language of logic. Not
Yeah.
Umbea, not Moshene, not that nonsense. Go ahead, Brother Bido.
If today Nduta could have been a daughter, a son of a minister, a former leader, I'm telling you, it will not even take a day for Nduta to be home.
Woo!
But simply because,
Cook,
yes,
bro.
yes,
Cook, bro.
this is the reality. This is the reality. I'm not lying to you. If indeed she came from an elite class, if Nduta today came from an elite class, it
Yes.
will not have even taken one day for her case to be processed. But simply
Yes.
because she is a normal struggling Kenyan, she doesn't have any economic benefit to the Kenyan ambassador there, she will be handled
Yes.
by just like any other case. That is the sad reality, honestly speaking. That is the sad reality.
Wow.
In this country, my brother, in this country called Kenya, you remember the Akasha brothers, the people who are poachers, who were extradited to America 4 years ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
America reached out and they said, hey guys, those guys who are poachers, they did not kill our elephants, but the transaction they did, they used American dollar and American financial system. Bring them to New Jersey. It took Kenya 2 days.
For them to be extradited.
It took Kenya 2 days for them to be extradited to New Jersey, and they were tried there.
That's right. That's right.
You remember the case of Njoroge, the Kenya Power and Lighting Company Director General, who stole some money and they stored it in New Jersey bank. And America said, fine, the money that was stolen was Kenyan, but they used our financial system, extradite them.
So
it's only that she's a poor Kenyan. She
That's
is
right.
struggling. Hana mtu wa kumwongelea. If indeed John Waluke was convicted by the Kenyan government and fined 797 million, the MP for Sirisia or MP for Mumias, John Waluke, and he was released he was bailed by the government and he was convicted to pay 797 million. That is almost 1 billion, and he was released. John Waluke is President Ruto's best friend now. So Nduta's case is a tiny thing.
Okay, then.
That is it.
Welcome to
It's
both
only
people,
that-
bro.
It's only
Yes.
that she is a daughter of nobody. She is not an elite.
right.
She doesn't have any economic benefit. This is just what happened to Nduta today is embodiment of how frustrated are we as Kenyans that we don't have jobs in this country. We
Yeah.
go out of our levels to get
That's
into problems and we get tried in another country. This should be an
That's right.
embarrassment to President Ruto's government. Okay? Yeah, this is it. What made Nduta to be in Thailand today is not because of our wish, because there are no jobs in Kenya, and the ones that are available will only go to the sons and the daughters of the rich. That is the reality, ndugu yangu. Those are my 2 cents, and I believe Kenyan government, let me be honest with you, they've been doing this. Kenyan government, they hid Joseph Kony for 16 years. And Kony was in the lookout of Interpol. He was staying here in Nairobi. The NRM leader, Joseph Kony, the fugitives. Joseph Kony was here. Okay?
Was in Kenya.
He was in Kenya, Joseph Kony, all this time. And so this Nduta's case.
Living
if indeed a
lavishly. Living like the guy was actually living lavishly. He was having a good time.
That is it. If indeed the Kenyan government really cared, President Ruto cared about Kenyan foreign policy and the benefit of Kenyans, this is something he could have done in a span of seconds. But simply because she is not a daughter of anyone, she is not a daughter of elite, she is not a daughter of a Kenyan oligarch, she is not an industrialist, so her case will be used as an example, unfortunately. But if there is somebody who, even through one call, if indeed in America, through the call of the governor, they can postpone lethal injection for the prisoners who have been put on death row, then what is in Nduta's case?
That's right. That's right.
What is
Do we?
Nduta's case? Yeah.
I just like the way you break it down. You say, like she's not a daughter to a minister or an oligarch or a powerful individual in the government, and she's just an ordinary Kenyan, or like any other Mama Mbogam or any other Mama Anjiko, That's why her case is being handled like this. If this was a high, if Nduta, for example, was a daughter of someone who is in power or in a position of power, this could have been a high-profile case that could have been taken care of very, very quickly. Now, up to now, and I've been looking at all platforms, and I've been looking at all his platforms, not one single word from President Ruto. What do you say about that?
You know, Vu, there is what they call in international relations shadow diplomacy. So shadow diplomacy is a kind of a diplomacy where head of states talk to each other. There is a channel that has been established across all the presidents in the world. In a click of a second, every leader in this world, they have a channel of talking to each other. They call it shadow diplomacy. So today, Ruto will just press a button and he will tell the leader there, hey, this lady, this case, we've shared history of consular relation, trade relation with Vietnam. We can have few concessions, we can have few compromise, but let's bring Nduta home. Then we talk after that. I'm telling you, it will only be a matter of seconds before Nduta is brought home. That is the case. The same case happened with that young man on top of Mount Everest who died 2 years ago. His body is still on top of Mount Everest. And the Kenyan government was told, pay 8 million and the body will transport it back. Up to now, that young man's body is still on top of Mount Everest. I forgot to mention his name.
Let me actually. Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to Vote TV Live right here on YouTube. Thank you very much, and shout out to all the viewers and our Vote TV YouTube subscribers. Okay, allow me to also give a shout out to my followers on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, those who have also subscribed to my website. This is the top story today. The story of our Kenyan sister, Margaret Nduta Macharia, who has been sentenced to death in Vietnam. Why? Because of drug trafficking. Margaret Nduta was arrested in July 2023. News sources have reconfirmed. And matter of fact, she was supposed to be executed today. Vietnam has some of the most strict anti-narcotics laws in the world. Matter of fact, in Vietnam, if you're arrested with only 100 grams, say, heroin, cocaine, or other drugs, only 100 grams can put you on that electric chair. Let's get back to the Margaret Nduta story. I've been covering this story the whole day, and we're gonna look today at the chances of Margaret Nduta being transferred to Kenya. Okay? Thanks God, Kenyans on social media, especially TikTok, they are very active. They push this case. On Saturday, some even went to the streets to protest, requesting the country's president, William Ruto, to intervene. That is exactly what happened. They intervened yesterday. They filed a petition. An open letter was sent to the president, and there was also an official statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Office. Now, we're going to start looking at the specifics of Margaret Nduta's case, and I've been digging in doing my research online of what can happen to you if you're caught trafficking drugs in Vietnam. So I'm going to come over here. So by the way, that's on my screen right now. Those are two images. One of the images is Margaret Nduta appearing in court. The circled image is when Margaret Nduta was arrested. Okay, so those are the two images that I've used on that thumbnail. Let's move on. I'm going to come over here. Let me remove that first. And then I'm going to add this screen over here. Let me come over here. We're going to, there you go. Now the next slide is loading up. Thank you. There you go. Amazing. Okay. The first thing that I looked into is what are the chances of Margaret Nduta to be transferred from Vietnam to Kenya. And I found this document right here. These are the facts. Kenya does not have a prisoner transfer agreement with Vietnam. This absence of a bilateral treaty means that Kenyan nationals convicted in Vietnam cannot be transferred to serve their sentences in Kenya. And by the way, that was posted on Tuco website. But I kept on researching. And I'm going to keep on presenting these facts on the screen for you to read and be my guest as well. You can just drop a comment and share your thoughts. Now, I then found this very interesting analysis. Let me share this. This is actually from Facebook. I found this interesting analysis on Facebook by a page called Tupo KE. And the headline, why the Kenyan government can't help Nduta. So we're looking at the fact that Kenya does not have any prisoner transfer agreement with Vietnam. That's number one. Bearing that in mind, let me read this out because it's very well explained. And by the way, don't get me wrong. All of us wish the best for Margaret Nduta Macharia and her family. We've seen the news, the mother crying, the family is affected. Margaret Nduta said that she never knew that she was carrying drugs in her bag. We don't wish this to happen to anyone. But let me, first of all, read what Tupo KE posted on this comment thread on Facebook. Why the Kenyan government can't help Nduta. Number one, the Kenyan government has no treaty agreement with Vietnam that allows for prisoner to be transferred to Kenya. There is no bilateral agreement. That's number one. Number two, as of now, there is no Kenyan embassy in Vietnam that could negotiate the transfer of Margaret Nduta. Man, by the way, all these are facts. Okay? We don't have a Kenyan embassy in Vietnam. Now, bear in mind, Margaret Nduta was arrested carrying 2 kilos of cocaine. That's 2,000 grams. Number 3, Vietnam's law and the nature of the crime Nduta committed have severe penalties compared to other countries. This makes it very difficult for the government to intervene unless they want the Vietnamese government to send their own criminals to Kenya to face justice there. I want to actually underline that the last statement. Let me read that out again. Vietnam's law and the nature of the crime Nduta committed have severe penalties compared to other countries. That's true. This makes it very difficult for the government to intervene unless they want the Vietnamese government to send their own criminals to Kenya to face justice there. Topo continues, this completely shuts down Margaret Nduta's chances of getting help from the Kenyan government. By the way, this comment was posted before the Kenyan government intervened and released a statement. Let me go to X and I want to show you something. Let's have a look at what the Principal Secretary for Foreign Affairs posted on X. Here we go. Honorable Korea said, I had a telephone conversation this afternoon with my counterpart, Her Excellency Nguyen Minh Hang, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam, over the matter of Margaret Nduta. I conveyed to Madame Hang the anxiety of the Kenyan people on the impending execution of our national and reiterated our request for a stay of execution to allow our 2 countries to find a path to resolving the issue. I am grateful for Madame Hang's assurance that our petition is under consideration by her country's authorities. In the meantime, our mission in Bangkok is actively following up the case in situ. So remember, Kenya doesn't have an embassy in Vietnam, but there is an embassy in Bangkok. So everything is being run over by the Kenyan embassy in Bangkok. I'm also going to point out at the open letter that was written by Senator Richard Onyonka from Kisii County, who wrote this petition to the President of the Republic of Kenya, William H. Ruto, pleading for clemency and asking for Margaret Nduta to be returned to Kenya and to be sentenced in Kenya. Let me read this out. He wrote, or he said, wrote to President William S. Ruto to intervene and free Nduta, which is a hashtag on Twitter right now, from the jaws of death in Vietnam. Margaret Nduta Macharia is a Kenyan, and it will be correct if she was repatriated back to the country to be tried within our laws over the crimes that she's being accused of. So, you see right here? That's a key point, right? And I want you guys to take notes. Okay, you know why? There you go. Margaret Nduta Macharia is a Kenyan, and it would be correct if she was repatriated back to the country, back to Kenya, to be tried within our laws over the crimes that she's being accused of. Which means even if Margaret Nduta is going to be transferred from Vietnam to Kenya, she will still have to face the legal consequences in Kenya and tried in Kenya. That is what, let me go back to what Tupa posted. Let me go back here. Tupa said, this makes it very difficult for the government to intervene unless they want the Vietnamese government to send their own criminals to Kenya to face justice there. For Nduta, the God of the 11th hour showed up. For Nduta, the God of the 11th hour showed up. Nduta was supposed to be executed yesterday at 8:30. I think, was it 8:30 p.m. or 8:30 a.m.? I'm not sure, but you can just drop a comment. It never happened. There are lessons to be learned from Margaret Nduta's story. This story is all over the place. On Facebook, on TikTok, on Twitter, on YouTube. It's a dominating story right now. All I'm going to say today, as I conclude this long day, here at VoTV, we wish the family of Margaret Nduta God's peace that surpasses human understanding. We wish and pray, and will continue to pray, that Margaret Nduta will be taken back to Kenya, where she'll face justice in her own country. Something else I made very clear on my TikTok live today. The only person who can tell her story is Nduta. We don't know what happened. We don't know. There's a lot of speculations. How did she get to Ethiopia? What happened with the luggage? She owns her story. And I hope and pray, and I wish for Nuta that one day you will tell your story. Thank you very much. That's VoTV News. If you have any questions, you can contact VoTV through our VoTV WhatsApp number. It's actually on the screen. You can also support this platform. You can support our channel. And thank you very much for finally reaching 41,000 subscribers. We want to bring the plaque home this year. So just keep on subscribing, sharing, and please, please take lessons from Margaret Nduta Macharia's story. I love you. Spread love. Bye-bye. And the question was, what are the updates? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is today, on these lives right now, I'm gonna do an official presser of the Margaret Nduta story. Tulikuwa hapa leo asubuhi. Let me give a shout out to my folks on Facebook. My followers on Facebook have been very, very active with my posts. Thank you very much. And we just hit 87,000 followers on Facebook. Asanteni sana. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna give you an official presser of the Margaret Nduta story. Okay? Thank you very much for liking. Everyone, like I say, like, share, like, share. Those who are tapping the screen, thank you very much. And I'm gonna still keep on telling you, this is the new Vote TV page. This is the new Vote TV page. And we're gonna build this page all the way to 1 million, 10 million. As you can see now, our today in the morning, I think we went up to over 100 viewers. So this new page is picking up because of you. The more you engage, the more this page keeps on growing. Now, without any further ado, let me tell you that the updates that I'm going to give you are updates from the government side. The updates that I'm going to give you are from the government side. Let me welcome Apostle Dan. Thank you very much, my brother. I see you. I hope you have also followed this new account, Apostle Dan. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, can we start? Thank you very much. Welcome to Vote TV News. And here is the official presser of the Margaret Nduta story. Where are we right now? Remember, Margaret Nduta, according to the news on social media, and what people are saying, was that alikuwa anyongwe leo. In this official presser, I'm going to keep on combining English and Swahili because there are some words that I don't want to say in English on this page because they trigger the algorithm in a negative way. So, Margaret Nduta ilikuwa anyongwe leo. You know the story. And why? Because she was arrested in July 2023 in Vietnam baada ya kupatikana na madawa za kulevya. That's the story. How it happened. There's a story about how she went to Ethiopia, and then from there someone gave her a bag, and the next thing she was in trouble. I don't want to keep on. I won't focus on that right now. Let's focus on what is going on at this moment. Kwa sababu Kenyans were on edge. Nduta ananyongwa leo. So, I'm going to first of all say that there's some good news for Nduta. Honorable Koril, who is the Secretary Principal of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, intervened in the Nduta story. Okay? Honorable Koril, who is the Principal Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, intervened in the story. And what I'm going to do now, let's change this. We're going to change this. Let me remove that, and I'm gonna put a different one. I'm gonna come here, and I'm gonna show you this one. Okay, that's the official Vote TV News. Sorry, I'm gonna make it smaller. It's fine. You can still see it. Okay, so that's the official Vote TV News report that I put out across all platforms. And I'm going to give you an update here on TikTok. Iko poa. 9 up. Must check it, don't worry about it, because I'm going to read this for you. Okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to show you everything. Don't worry about it. Relax. Just be patient. But you can see the headline. It says Vietnam puts a halt on Nduta's execution. That's where we are. 9 hours ago, Honorable Koril posted the following. Thank you, Honorable Richard Onyonka, for your petition. Nduta's case is complex and difficult, but we're doing everything within our disposal to secure a reprieve for our national. And let me explain to you what happened with Senator Richard Onyonka, who penned an open letter to President William Ruto 13 hours ago, saying, Honorable Ruto, intervene and free Nuta from the jaws of death in Vietnam. And then I'm gonna keep on reading what he wrote. He said, Margaret Nduta Macharia is a Kenyan, and it will be correct if she was repatriated back to the country to be tried within our laws over the crimes that she is being accused of. Tuhamwe. Then Senator Richard Onyonka continued and said, the president should have already made a personal effort in his capacity to initiate diplomatic negotiations with Vietnam leadership concerning a matter that is involving a Kenyan citizen. Now, I don't want to waste, because the petition is a long one. I'm going to put the petition, by the way, in my Vote TV Telegram group. All this, I'm going to put the petition that was sent to the president in the Vote TV Telegram group. I'm going to do that right now. How do you join Vote TV Telegram group? Just go to my bio, click that link that says Telegram, and join Vote TV Telegram right now. Okay. As I was looking at what Senator Richard Onyonka wrote, I want us to focus on the last statement where he says, the president should have already made a personal effort in his capacity to initiate diplomatic negotiations with Vietnam leadership concerning a matter that is involving a Kenyan citizen. Don't we all agree on that? Margaret Nduta was arrested in July 2023. Alikuwa anyongwe leo. All this time, and that was exactly what I also said yesterday and today in the morning, the government should have intervened long time ago. Like you tumezoea, in Kenya, people do things last minute. Shout out to Kadamas in Gulf. Tunakwanga hapa kila siku tukilia, serikali iko wapi? Then the next thing, it's a coffin at the airport, and the person is forgotten. Ukena masukweli. Say that I'm wrong. Back to the topic. So Senator Richard Onyonka is the one who penned that letter to the president, and I'm actually uploading that open letter to the Vote TV Telegram. There you go. Copy number 1. And there you go. Copy number 2. Nimaekea kwa Telegram group. Tuendelee. And also again, if you're new here, this is the new Vote TV page. Follow Vote TV Media on TikTok, and let's blow up this page. Thank you very much. So, and then came the good news. This was 7 hours ago. And I'm going to show you what Honorable Coril posted on his Twitter. come over here. We make that, let me just place that there for you to read, but I'm also going to read the entire tweet. 7 hours ago, Honorable Khalil said, I had a telephone conversation this afternoon with my counterpart, His Excellency Nguyen Minh Hang, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam, over the matter of Margaret Nduta. I conveyed to Madame Hang the anxiety of the Kenyan people on the impending execution of our national and reiterated our request for a stay of execution to allow our two countries find a path to resolving the issue. I am grateful to Madame Hang's assurance that our petition is under consideration by her country's authorities. In the meantime, our mission in Bangkok is actively following up the case in situ. Long tweet. It's on my screen. I'm going to place it there. But let me read this again. And this was 7 hours ago. This was 7 hours ago. Honorable Khalil posted and said that he had a telephone conversation this afternoon with my counterpart, His Excellency Nguyen Minh Hang, who is the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam, over the matter of Margaret Nduta. There is one thing I would like us to go through. He wrote, I am grateful for Madame Hang's assurance that our petition, which I've posted in Vote TV Telegram group, is under consideration by her country's authorities. In the meantime, our mission in Bangkok is actively following up the case in situ. That's where we are within Nduta's story. Now, there are certain things, or there are several things I would like to highlight in this case. One, Senator Richard Onyonka is saying that Margaret Nduta Macharia is a Kenyan, and it would be correct if she was repatriated back to the country to be tried within our laws over the crimes that she's being accused of. Kama ulikuwa hapa asubuhi, has anybody here, has anybody read the penal code? Has anyone here read the Vietnamese penal code if you're caught trafficking madawa ya kulevya? What I'm going to do is, again, this is TikTok. This is a young page. There are some things that I cannot mention. Kwa sababu leo asubuhi kuna majina nilikuwa na mention, napatiwa warning kwa hii kesi ya Nduta. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to drop in the Telegram group, okay? I'm going to drop the penal code that defines the punishment that you get ukiuza ama ukitraffic madawa za kulevya Vietnam. And I'm going to tell you the maximum punishment ni kuuliwa. Are we clear? Are we together? Okay. We can. If you have any questions, ask these questions. No. And by the way, this is the official press. I'm doing this official presser because I'm also going to post this on my YouTube channel. But if you like to say something, you can join the conversation. The penal code in Vietnam, of trafficking, madawa za kulevya, ni kifo. And wale ambao mko kwa Telegram group, you will see the penal code even mentions the quantity. The penal code also mentions the quantity. So, sleepless gender, is it true? Is it true? The part of the punishment is true. Now in Nduta's case, wajua ukisema madawa za kulevya, that's a general term, right? Okay. The question is, do we know what she was carrying in that bag? Huh? Do you know what? Enos, welcome. Key, thank you very much. Thank you, Key. Thank you much. Thank you very much. Do we know what she was carrying in that bag? You don't know. Do you know the quantity of what she was carrying? We don't know. All that people are talking about at this point is that in Vietnam, the penal code for trafficking madawa za kulevya, it's very specific. Kama ni quantity, kama ni quantity, kama ni quantity, that's how it works. Thank you, Mom. Yes, true. So let me ask this. I've seen on Twitter, they asked how many Vietnamese are in Kenya and they don't pardon. Yes. There was a reaction from the Vietnamese side about this. That's true. I saw that on Twitter as well. And Lucy Karanja, has anything changed? Are they still with the death penalty? Umengia late Lucy Karanja. So what's happening now? This is the status at this point. Okay, this is the status. Everything is on hold, and both governments are negotiating. Senator Richard, I'm gonna keep on going back to the petition that Senator Richard Onyonka filed. Thank you, Simon Sky. Can you pin that comment? Yeah, Simon Sky. It's true. From 100 grams, you're gone. Okay, so everything is on hold. The good news from Nduta at this point is that whatever was meant to happen today did not happen. Okay, that's fucking good news. If I look at all these posts by the government officials, Chiromauba, thank you. If I look at the official posts by the government officials, they've been posting. The first post was 13 hours ago when we were here in the morning. So the government actually intervened less than 24 hours in this issue. Let me see some other comments. I've also been seeing. I mean, Kenyans have been fighting for this. The most amazing part about the Nuta story is, again, Kenya, my dear Kenyans, it's a lesson that when you come together as one nation and one voice, without talking about sijui milema for milemas, milaya for milayas, for whatever, metas for metas, all the shit, you can move forward in a very, very, very successful way. We can change Kenya if we come together. Am I making sense? The Nuta story is a perfect example. Wale watu wamepigania Nduta, hata kama on the forefront you have like, I think this so-called gamer for gamer, whatever, is on the forefront, or they did their part. Wacha niwaambie, the whole Kenya was behind Nduta. Wakale, Wakisi, Wajaluo, Wakamba. When people joined hands on this social media to speak about Nduta, it was one nation, one language. My fellow Kenyans, the only language that we should be talking on this social media is Kenyan language. And if we do that, then we can change the country. I'm happy for Nduta. Mom, let's continue. Mom is saying, and we can exchange her with one Vietnamese who is in prison. So what they do, Lucy, of course, Lucy Karaja, of course, yes. Yes. Even us in the diaspora. Now, allow me to say this. I do believe what Kenya and Vietnam will do, they will invoke a prison swap. Okay? So for example, we can say we have a Vietnamese who is jailed in Kenya, and we can swipe Nduta letwe Kenya, mu Vietnam apelekwe kwao. But here's the caveat. Even though Nduta will be brought back to Kenya, she will still be facing charges of drug. Oh, nimesema hiyo jina. Sikuwa kutaja. Hope TikTok haijasikia. Ataletwa Kenya na atachajiwa for trafficking. Are we clear on that? Is that clear? So even if eventually there will be a swap, once Nduta goes back to Kenya, she is still a prisoner. She is not free. And she will be charged for the crime. Now, if that happens, it's still a win for Nduta. Do we have any Vietnamese in our jail facilities? From what I've been seeing on Twitter, they're saying yes. We have Vietnamese citizens who are held in Kenyan prisons. That's what I read on Twitter. Can I confirm how many there are for which crimes? I cannot. Yeah. That's why we had folks from the Vietnamese side asking the question, okay, why do you want us to pardon Margaret Nduta while you are holding our people in your country? So that, just to make that very crystal clear. Thank you very much. And again, folks, let me keep on asking you, kindly follow this new page. This is the new Vote TV page. My main account with 400 followers was hacked about 12 days ago. We are working on getting it back, and I do trust the process. Okay, so if you're new here, listen, this is how we're gonna make the main key. The main key on this page is engagement. So if you come here, like this page, follow the host. Then, for example, you can do heart maze. You can give flowers, whatever you want to do to keep the page active. The more we are active on this page, the more we're gonna grow. And I'm gonna tell you, the Vote TV media page, I'm gonna take this page to 10 million followers. Did they hack my account? Yes, they did. Did they hack my hands? No. Did they delete my memory? No. Did they delete my vision? No. So, if you have any questions at this point, I'm glad to answer your questions in regards to Margaret Nduta's case. Remember what I'm giving you are the official updates from the Kenyan government side. Mainly the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, what they said, and the petition that was filed by Senator Richard Onyonka. If you want to read the whole petition, be my guest. Just join Vote TV Telegram, and the 2 pages are there. By the way, Senator Richard Momoima Onyonka is from Kisii County. I'm even seeing that right now. Like Senator Richard Momoima Onyonka is from Kisii County. So do you see where I'm coming from? It took and that's why you have to speak the language that you have to speak on this social media. The language that you have to speak on this TikTok is one language, that we are all Kenyans. Don't define yourself based on your tribe. Senator Richard Momoima Onyonka is from Kisii County. He's not from Kiambu. He's not from Nyeri. He's not from Thika. He's not from Muranga. He's not from Kirinyaga. No, he's not. He's Doimete Guito. And I will keep on pushing that message. Lucy Karanja, we are all Kenyans. And if people can take this template of what you've been able to achieve, my friend, we can take Kenya very far. So I hope all this nonsense is going to be wiped out. The senator who wrote an open letter to the president 13 hours ago is from Kisii County. It's the same way I keep on telling people, even Vote TV, 95% of the people that we help on Vote TV are from Kisii. Our support system, 95% goes to the Kisii people. By the way, okay, I keep on hearing people talking about Kororia, CJ Candy. What is Kororia responsible for? Thank you very much. Sorry for asking that question. I don't know. I've been hearing Kororia. What is, and why was he talking? More than get my topic. So, do you have any questions about this report? And the report that I'm giving here officially is what the government has said. The activism of the people on social media, the activism by the people, by the folks on this TikTok has been powerful. Also, if I'm not wrong, Baba Owino also spoke. Lee, what's the update on Nuta? Lee, if you're coming late, the update on Nuta is number one. A petition has been filed. An open letter was sent to the president, and the principal secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is in negotiation with the Vietnamese government. And this is let me show you who the lady is. This is the deputy. This is his excellent, by the way, Her Excellency, Nguyen Minh Hang. Let me show who she is, right there. Okay, she was actually in Kenya in February. There you go. Okay, she's the deputy minister of Foreign Affairs in Vietnam. Thank you, Lee. So our principal secretary, Honorable Koril, said that he had a telephone conversation this afternoon with my counterpart, Her Excellency Nguyen Minh Hang, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam, over the matter of Margaret Nduta. I convey to Madame Hang the anxiety of the Kenyan people on the impending execution of our national, and reiterated our request for a stay of execution to allow our two countries to find a path to resolving the issue. I'm grateful for Madame Hang's assurance that our petition is under consideration by her country's authorities. Okay? And then the Honorable Kavil said, in the meantime, our mission in Bangkok is actively following up on the case. Please don't call me when I'm live. Thank you very much. So there she is. Okay? I just wanted you guys to have an idea who Honorable Nguyen Minh Hang is. We got it? Okay. So let's go back to this was a headline by NTV today. As you can see, the breaking news: Vietnam to consider execution appeal. Foreign Affairs PS Coril Singoi says Vietnam considering Kenya's petition for halting of March 17th killing of Margaret Nduta for whatever you can see, for traffic madawa za kulevya. Sitaki kutaja jina hapo na Kiingereza because it's triggering my TikTok. I can still keep that up here. Any questions? And again, I repeat, make sure that you follow Vo TV Media right here on TikTok. Oh yeah, Unga is here. Yeah, for trafficking Unga. Yeah, that's good. He said how many Vietnamese have in Kenya have been pardoned. I don't have that update. So, Candy, there was a reaction from the Vietnamese side who was saying, we have people from our country who are jailed in Kenya and they haven't been pardoned. So why do you want to pardon this person when you have Vietnamese prisoners in Kenya? Okay. I do believe that what's going to happen eventually, there's going to be a prisoners swap. That's what I do believe. Either or, at the end of the day, it's a big win for Nuta. I want to keep on stressing on that point. It's a big win for Nuta because her life has been spared. Mungu amepatia Nduta another chance in life. Imagine today she was awaiting to be executed. People talk about the God of last minute. The chances of someone surviving this. So what is really going on as we stand? So, Simon, again, it's right there. The Vietnamese government have received a petition. Okay. Now, Vietnam government, Kenyan government, negotiate and give us the results. God of the 11th hour, absolutely. Power of social media, abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Lessons to be learned from this story, many. Because Kenyans will do everything for money. And we understand that. This economy in Kenya, economy ya kasongo ya chapati, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. People will do anything for money. And I do believe she was misled. You know, at the end of the day, even as people have been on the forefront and fighting for Margaret Nduta, we don't know her history. You know what I mean? Like, what do we say in Swahili? Kapitia. She has gone through so much. And maybe someone just told her, hey, ukishika hii unga, upeleke Vietnam, then tutakulipa hii pesa na utakuwa sawa. Amekapitia. Thank you Nemo. You know, I'm happy for Nduta's parents. Wajua atafaa tolewe, wacha tolewe Vietnam, aletwe Kenya, apelekwe kotini ya Kenya, but she's in Kenya and she's alive. They never told her what's in the bag. I don't believe their part. But again, we're not here to pin or start making any conclusions. That part, she was at the wrong place at the wrong time because of some stupid pressure. Peer pressure is bad. So I have full understanding of whatever she went through. Those who are, if you are watching, those who are my subscribers on VoTV, YouTube, and my followers on Facebook. Yesterday, I was streaming a major case we had here about 2 years ago of a lady who woke up in the morning and told her children, I'm going to India and I will be back in 7 days. That was back in 2019. Okay? Woke up in the morning. They actually took her to the airport and she told her kids, I'll be back in 7 days. Amanda, India. The kids were on my show crying. Alingia, India, and that was the end of it. She was missing. She was missing. Nobody knew where she was. Umesikia? Na alikuwa amesema anaenda for 7 days. Now, Lena, good question. India kufanya nini? Now, let me explain that part. Every time ukisikia ati unapelekwa India, it's always 3 jobs. Let me call them jobs at this point. A, kuuza unga. B, kuuza kinembe. 3, selling both. That's India for you. Niambia history ya trafficking na nini na I know the ins and out of it because I've documented victims. Nimekuwa na victims hapa, nimekuwa na watu wa Dubai, watu wa Qatar, watu wa India, watu wa all different countries. What is kinembe? Kinembe is makorofia. Just FYI. Avocados, bro. Kinembe is avocados. Just saying that. Okay. Tiamu is saying unga, kinembe, and working on call centers. Now, but again, the call center that they talk about in India is also something different. You know, it's not just some regular call centers. It's like the people who are in, folks who are in, thank you, Sichabu, thank you. Enjoy your kinembe tonight. It's avocados, bro. Okay. Sweetheart. Oh, sweetheart, welcome. Any updates about Nuta? Yes. Everything is on hold. The Kenyan government has filed a petition, and we're just waiting for the answer. Thank you. Yes, pin that comment by Yakin. So what they have in India, they have this they have these scam call centers that target people who are abroad. Like me, a perfect example is my TikTok account, okay, which has been hacked. It was targeted by some people working in a call center in Cambodia. So it's those kind of shady stuff that they do in those call centers. It's not the regular call centers. Kwa hivyo kama uko Kenya ukisikia India, enda kimbia kimbi. And the most interesting part is, and I want to make this very, very crystal clear. I want to make this very crystal clear. If at any point Libra is asking, but if she was paid the deposit, then she knew what she was going to deliver. Pin that comment. That's exactly what I've been saying since day one. Ikitu akipanga anakuambia, hey, Buddha, shika hii bag iko na ABCD, tunakulipa this amount of money, and then you go and deliver. That's it. She took the bait. Let's say, for example, they're telling you they're going to pay you like 200,000 shillings or whatever amount they mentioned to you. That's exactly what happened to Nuta. But anyway, all they said and done, we are happy for Margaret Nduta. There will be no execution today, and both governments are negotiating. Libra, too many questions. Do you know what I'm waiting for? What I'm waiting for, and this should be the best breakthrough in Nduta's case. Get the media or someone on social media. She can reach out to any platform if she has that opportunity, and let Nduta tell her own story. See where I'm coming from? Because right now, if you start asking these questions, oh, what about the deposit? How did she go from Kenya to Ethiopia? All these theories that are on social media, because social media will cook and recook, and wanaongeza chumvi, inawekwa curry powder, hata utapata ugali, unakula ugali na mandizi. I mean, it's gonna be fucking complicated. You follow the facts, don't follow the noise. Now, funny enough, on this social media, people love noise than facts. So even the way I'm explaining it in a very different way than how you'll find other people updating it. People love noise. So I pray for Nduta that even Nduta will get a chance to tell us her story. At this point, for me personally, I'm not wasting my time asking myself all these questions. What happened? Why did they go this? Like, let me give like one perfect example. There was this story about that she was supposed to go to Gulf, and then she found herself in Vietnam. And I was like, nah, it doesn't make any sense. Next thing, she left Kenya, then went to Ethiopia. And the bag, alipata your bag akiwa Ethiopia. I'm like, okay. How did she get to Ethiopia? Then kulikuwa na theories. Some people are saying, and even I was asking people here kwa live yangu, they're like, oh, na basi. I'm like, you take a bus to Ethiopia, god damn it. So you left Kenya, went to Ethiopia with the bus, and then from Ethiopia you took a flight. You know what I mean? So at this point, the person that can tell her story in her own words is Nduta. Yeah, Simon Sky, like now, I'm struggling to buy this whole Ethiopian story by Nisawa too. That story, Ethiopia with the bus and the plane and all this, I'm not even wasting my time on it. All I want, like now, how I would deal with this story is, okay, put Nduta on the screen. Okay, Nduta, what happened? And we keep quiet, and she talks. That question, Enos, the big question is, was she supposed to return with the same unga? That what was the essentials? Let Nduta tell that story. So you can ask all these questions and you can start having all these speculation, but it's not going to help you. Okay, everything you're just gonna be hitting a brick wall. Which agency took her there, Aki? There's no agency. There is nobody even. Though, you see, Duchess of Meru. I was asking those questions. Who was the so-called agent? Who was? Mara sijui ni Njoroge, mara sijui ni Peter, mara sijui ni nani? Of course, utasikia hata ni Kevin, because Kevin has to be in everything. There are two names that you never miss in any shit. Ni Kevo ama JMO. Fuck! What the fuck? A guy by the name Kajoni. Is he Kenyan? On this Sunday, the Nduta story should be a sermon. On this beautiful Sunday. On this beautiful Sunday, the Nduta story should be a sermon. The Nduta story should be a testimony. So for me personally, it's leaning back and taking notes from Nduta story. Because this person, this lady, she was staring at death. Lucy Karanja, I know Nduta is so traumatized and hope she will be able to give her other side of the story. Yes. She will, one day she will talk. One day she'll talk. Something else I'd like to say. You see the way the government intervened in Nduta's case? What other lesson have we learned from this? The Kenyan government has the power. And because Vote TV has always been the most powerful platform that has fought for the oppressed domestic workers in the Middle East, hata historia Nduta iwafungue macho, mjue ya kwamba the government has power. Tuhamwe. Ukienda kwa Mwarabu, Kikurambe, the government can intervene and say, hey, stop. Hey, mtoe kwa hiyo nyumba. They can do that. They can do that. Though, please educate Watu Watama the danger behind taking people belonging to foreign countries. Yes. Tama iko. But we cannot judge these people. Let me tell you, Simon, and I'm going to be very, very specific on this. I'm sure Nduta has children. Nduta has a family. Angalia ekonomi ya Kasongo ya chapati sahi. Every Kenyan you can ask. Go randomly on the streets and pick 10 Kenyans and ask them, Buddha, watakutoka hii Kenya? What do you think they will tell you? African currency, thank you. If you went on the streets right now in Kenya and you asked 10 people, do you want to leave Kenya? What do you think they'll tell you? Huh? Let's have a very honest conversation. Let's have a very honest dialogue. What do you think they will tell you? Do you think they will hesitate? They will say, anywhere I want to go. Just nitoke hii Kenya. Everyone that I know is saying, I'm tired of Kenya. I want to leave this country. See politics, see economics, see leadership, mambo sijui abductions, mambo sijui ya nini, see inflation. Everybody right now wants to get the fuck out of Kenya. Yes, And Simon, thank you very much for now actually watasema kama ni mbaya mbaya. Kama ni mbaya mbaya. I'm ready to go. I remember, and actually as we celebrate 10 years of OTV, I remember there was one time, ilikuwa ni around 2017, kuna msichana alikuwa anapigania Saudia. And this lady had, she was a mother of 5. And I remember 2017, so it took about 8 years ago. And nikamuuliza, mama, mbona uliacha Kenya ukaenda Gulf? You know what she told me? You know what she told me? She told me, Vo, niambie, nibaki Kenya nikufe na njaa na watoto wangu wakufe na njaa, ama nipande ndege nijaribu kutafutia chakula? And that's the last time. That's the last time I promised myself that I would ever ask someone, mbona umeenda Gulf? The same thing applies to Nduta. Why she did it, what happened, it's not for us to start questioning and judging. She did it. But her story, because now God has given her a second chance, and I pray, and everybody here prays. Because kumbuka, everything, they're negotiating. Okay, let me, when you're dealing with any major case, you always have to go for the worst case scenario. Okay, what's the worst case scenario? Imagine tuamke kesho tuambiwe, serikali ya Vietnam na serikali ya Kenya, they were not able to agree. And therefore, the execution will go on. That will be heartbreaking. And we don't want that to happen. So the God of the 11th hour, who intervened in Nduta's case today, may he intervene for her as these two governments negotiate about the execution. Again, as we move on, I'm going to keep on reminding you, like every 15-20 minutes, follow the new VoTV page. This is VoTV Media. My main account, the VoTV family page, was hacked 12 days ago. It's a long story. I've been telling that story on all platforms. Just follow this page and let's build this page all the way up. Please, thank you very much. Now, the key on this page is engagement. When you come here, you want to follow, like I've told you, follow the new page. Okay? Also be proactive. Join the VoTV team and the Paleju grab a hack me. That's engagement. I always put flowers as my life goal because flowers represent love. VoTV is the home of love and humanity and testimonies, and that way I appreciate you so much. So anything that you can do on this platform to keep the engagement moving on, sharing the videos and sharing this live, you are really, really doing so much, and I appreciate you. Do you have any more questions about the Nduta story? Or is there anybody who would like to say something maybe? If you'd like to say something, be my guest. Is there anyone who would like to come? Leo ni Sunday. Maybe, maybe unaweza kusema, hii story ya Nduta mazee imenifungua macho, or I would like to say this. Anything you'd like to say, you're welcome.